Hi family, my name is Soliél Lindsey, and you are tuned into another episode of our mental health podcast, Soul Seek Conversations. I am your host again, Soliél Lindsey. I am the owner of Soul Rise Essentials based here in Richmond, Virginia, where we are created to shine a big bright light on the importance of transformation and mental health and wellness. We offer mental health merchandise for your entire family, your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your cousins, your kids, everybody, to spread good vibes. We have an array of colors. We indulge in color therapy because we know how important color can be to lift your spirits up, okay? So having said that, you can go shop our website. Soul Seek Conversations exists to share stories of resilience, to build global community, and for you to discover new ways to thrive via the brave voices of others. I am so excited to have a special guest join us today. His name is Preston. Y'all are going to find him so informative, and I just am so inspired by his resiliency and his stories. He's a stranger turned a friend, and I'm just so excited to share his resilient story with y'all today. You know, the elders don't talk as much as they used to because they think we don't want to listen. But this guy tells stories that, like, in real life stories, you know, and it just makes you glad to know him and glad to know everything he's overcome. And so I think you're going to want to hear this. Y'all know we do a lot of intergenerational conversations over here. We have 50, 60, sometimes 70-year-olds watching our podcast. Shout out to Desiree. She was on last month. She shared her amazing story, 40 plus years in the social work and mental health industry. And so that was amazing. If you have not checked that out, please do so. I wanted to give y'all some awesome news until Preston comes on. Soliél Lindsey, as the owner of Soul Rise Essentials, was nominated for a really big award by NAWBO, the National Association hold on, I might get this wrong. National Association for Women Business Owners. I'm gonna get it right. It's okay. It's huge. We have a Richmond chapter here, and I was nominated a few weeks ago, and I found out a few days ago that I'm a finalist, so I get to go to the gala. They nominated me as a rising star in our city here in Richmond, Virginia, for the work that I'm doing. As you know, maybe you don't know, aside from the product side of our business, our merch, our jewelry, our accessories for children and adults, I'm also a facilitator. And I actually did my first facilitator and speaker, a keynote speaker. I actually did my very first huge contract. I can say it now. Shout out to VDOT. Thank you for having me come in to share my workshop with you all entitled Ignite Your Light, to build more confidence and more transformation and more mindset shifting on your team. It was amazing. Shout out to Markeisha of Blocal RVA. She was my assistant for the day, and we did some amazing work together. And I believe lives were changed, professions were changed. And shout out to VDOT. Thank you so much for that experience. So if you know of someone that is in need of a facilitator, workshop facilitator, speaker, you can go to our website. I actually have my speaker electronic press kit there, as well as my capability statement, so you can see exactly what I can speak on, how I can help your school, your business, your organization, your corporation move forward with positive habits for the mind, for personal development, for professional development. So I'm very, very excited about that. I got a couple more announcements. I'm going to welcome Mr. Preston on in the room. I see he's made it here with us. We are so excited. If you are here, please share this with someone. If you're watching live, go ahead and put sunshine emojis in the comments. Trigger warning. I always have to say this on each of my podcasts. Even though we share stories of resilience here, we actually do have professionals come on that do have designators and letters behind their names. But anytime somebody sits in a soul seat, they are just simply a human sharing their lived experiences. We are not diagnosing, treating. We are simply sharing lived experiences. So if anything is said or shared here that, you know, is a little bit triggering, definitely take care of yourself. Mind your mind. Pause it. X out of it. Share it with someone else who it may be more relevant for. And just take care of yourself. You know, we are very aware of these things. And again, no medical or professional advice is given. You can find this and every single episode of our mental health podcast, Soul Seek Conversations, on YouTube. Just type in Soul Rise Essentials. That's SOL Rise Essentials. Or you can type in Soul Seek Conversations and you will see every episode. We're on episode 51. Wow. If you have a mental health story or resilient story to share, please email us at mystory@soul, again, that's SOL, riseessentials.com. We will set up a discovery call and make sure that it's a good fit for the podcast. And we do this every single month. What's going on with you, Preston?
Power to the people.
Welcome to Soul Seek Conversations. How are you?
It's a blessing to be here with you, my queen.
Thank you for coming, giving us your time. Preston, thank you for being here. For those of you who do not know who you are, please introduce yourself.
Yes, welcome everyone. Bless you. My name is Preston Schofield. I'm a friend of the young lady who's hosting the podcast, and I'd like to thank everyone for letting me come on and tell you that I love you, and I just want to talk about my story.
Yes, I am so excited for them to hear about you. I actually posted on my Facebook page, letting people know that you would be here. And I said, some people that you meet and you just find them very interesting and unique, and y'all bond and you want to hear all the stories that they have to share. So I'm excited for people watching in the Soul Tribe family to get to know you, be inspired by you. And so we're going to jump right into it. So I always do a segment on my podcast, being that it is a mental health podcast. I always start with a segment where I ask you, how is your mental health on a scale from 1 to 5? Oh, and before I get there, hold on. You didn't introduce yourself. Tell us all the things that you do, because you gave me quite a few titles, but they couldn't
Yes,
all
ma'am.
fit on there. So I want the audience to be a little bit more familiar with you before we hop into that.
First of all, I'm saved. I want to say that I'm Christian, non-denominational, ministered in the AME Church in Tampa, Florida, and I travel all over the country, sharing with other veterans and people who have mental health issues my story. If God could help me, he could definitely help anyone else. Also, I attended school to be a lawyer out in California. I'm waiting now for the California Bar Association to go ahead and get me licensed so I can actually start helping people who have problems or issues that they can't get help with. Most of the time, it's about money. We can't afford attorneys. So we can't afford attorneys. Our stories go unheard. I want to fit in that niche where people need help. I want to do it for free, pro se.
Wow. Why do you want to do that? Why is that so important to you?
Oh, it's very important to me. I grew up with a family with a mother and a father. Mother was a school teacher, 2 masters, a doctor's degree. Father was in the military. They started 3 funeral homes, started several businesses, and they showed me you have to give back to people. From the time we were born to the time we die, all that we know about at the grave is that little dash. What that dash means is what have we done that someone can still talk about us while we are gone.
Yeah.
And by me experiencing trauma in the military, outside the military, my why became help someone else, and it helps me as well.
Yeah, that's powerful. Do you mind sharing with the people what era you from, when you were born, or how old you are?
Well, actually, I'm 68 years of age. I'm very proud to be 68. I was born in 57. Came home in a shoebox. My mother told me put me in the top drawer to keep my sisters from throwing me around as a little rag doll. And
That's funny.
and I had what is called I was premature. I grew up in a place called Orlando, Florida. My mother was a school teacher there. Fortunate and unfortunate for me at the same time because we couldn't do anything out of the way in school, especially when your mother is right down the hall. Her brothers and sisters all were school teachers or either in the military. So my mother started a funeral home with my father. They just got 3 funeral homes and kept going. So we were shown resiliency by making generational wealth.
Yeah, I want to get more into that for sure because your background is really fascinating to me. Before we get there, you brought up some things about sharing your story with people dealing with mental health issues and using your degree and the one that you're going for and going to have very, very soon. Well, you have the degree, you're just waiting on what are you waiting on right now?
Wait on the state of California, my investigator who's checking my background to make sure I'm good material to be a lawyer in California.
Okay, so you're waiting on that approval, but you are
Right.
using that to help other people. I know that you are also a foster parent. Is that true?
Yes, I adopted some kids for a good friend of mine who's a massage therapist in Florida. Her name is Shanita Hayes. If you're not in Lakeland, Florida, go by and see her. Unfortunately, she suffered 4 strokes back to back at an early age of 45. And
Okay.
they had no father in the family. I've been knowing the kids since they was babies, so I decided to go ahead and become a guardian for her children.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that part of the story. We're gonna get into that too. I just want to
Right.
make sure I hit all those titles. So, retired veteran, what branch of the military were you in?
The best one, the U.S. Army, 82nd Airborne Division.
Okay, U.S. Army, thank you for your service, sir.
You're welcome.
I think that's all of them. We'll get into everything else. So take us back. It sounds like you were born and raised maybe in Florida.
Yes, ma'am. Travel all over the country. My family moved around, so I traveled a little bit.
So were your parents military as well, or y'all just moved?
My father was military. My mother was a school teacher.
Okay. And what
Right.
branch was your dad in?
He was in an all-black tanker unit in World War II under a guy by the name of General George S. Patton.
Wow. And that was Army as well?
Army as well.
Wow. Okay. This is so fascinating. So your military background, can you say that that was shaped by your dad's involvement in the military?
It was shaped by my mother, the queen, my father, the king, and my uncles and aunts. We grew up in an era where we was raised by a village. Everyone in my neighborhood had some input into my life, my upbringing. And all of this you can tell was great. Know God, be respectful, be righteous, you know what I'm saying, and be responsible. So I had a collaborative upbringing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love it. Okay, so we can be talking for days. Let me go back to my original prompt. I wanted to make sure I got through all your titles first.
Right.
So, yes, you know that mental health is very important to me, and I like to check in with people in real time. Okay, so in this moment, from 1 to 5, 1 being like a little low, 5 being your highest, where is your mental health right now in this moment? And I'll share after you do as well.
Right now it's a 3. Usually we do like 1 to 10 in the military, and mine's always like a 9 or 10. But I've been doing more focusing on doing my work, which takes my mental health down. If I do something, I'm more inclusive doing schoolwork, helping other people. I find out that my mental health is a little bit better than on the days I'm just sitting in a room by myself.
So you're saying when you say the work, what do you mean when you say that?
Well, I go out and help people because every day another one of my whys is every day we lose 22 military veterans to suicide. A lot of
Mm.
them can't get help. They can't get into the clinic. They don't have anyone to talk to them. They're used to a different environment. So I try to be that person to make them remember that environment we was in. It's easy to talk to someone and know what you're going through than to a counselor has no clue what you're talking about.
Absolutely. My partner shared that he finally was able to get into the VA, and they did like some group sessions, and you could just hear like a weight lifted off of him because us being civilians, we just could never relate to that experience. And I think being in that group, especially with other men that have a similar experience, like that's so important. So kudos to you for offering yourself up to be that person. Because it's hard getting services with the VA. I mean, and just seeing
Very.
so many veterans on the side of the road, it breaks my heart. So I appreciate you for doing that. So you said that it brings you down a little bit because you're being there for other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we know for a fact, like I say, my background is very good. My mother and father going to church, going to all kind of schools when I was young. They kind of guided us into what we wanted to be. That's what do you want to be when you grow up? That prompt I was given to by my mother. I want to be a lawyer. Okay, we're going to take you to be around lawyers. We're going to take you to the University of Florida. We're going to send you to DC. So I got a chance to get out and see what I wanted to be, and that's actually was going to be my profession. And by doing that, it helps me to go back to a foundation. That's my foundation. Go back to what you learned, because if you don't have a foundation, you definitely can't have a roof on your life. So by me going to that, I can share with other veterans. When I hear them tell me their story, my story is not as bad. I mean, you're homeless. You can't get no treatment. I got all that coming to me. So how can I complain about something when I hear your story? So it
Yeah.
kind of helps me stay grounded.
Yeah. Okay. So I always like to answer this question myself. In this moment, I've been sick the last couple of days. It's like a stomach virus going around. So mentally, I was out of it for like the last 3 days. I did not feel good. But in this moment, I feel great. I love having these types of conversations. And my son had like this Christmas concert at his school this morning. My granddad and I got to
Amen.
go. So I'm feeling good. I'm like a strong 4.5 right now. And so I'm just happy to be back from where I was over the last few days. So I'm feeling good.
Yeah, most of the time, I'm doing it. If you can see, this is the Department of VA. This is the letter for an appeal for something they're supposed to give me that I earned by raising my hand to serve my country. I have to go back and write to them and explain to them, this is what the law says. So by me going to school and getting that education, which was one of my whys, I can relate to them. And when I tell them this is the law, but you're not doing the law, which is illegal, that kind of takes you down, that I have to fight for something that I was promised. I got shot at. People
And
died on
you,
me.
man, you are speaking to the choir. And this is one reason why I wanted to share your story, because I am so fascinated by your ability to understand what's naturally ours. And so many
Right.
people just don't know how to advocate for themselves. And so, beyond mental health, I'm just an advocate for my personhood. And so I appreciate the same advocacy and braveness, which it really should just be something we all possess, but for whatever reason we don't. You like, no, this is what it is. It's mine. I'm gonna go get it. And so many of us just don't have that attitude. And so people look at folks like me and like you, and some people may even say, well, they're doing too much. But they probably looked at Malcolm X the same way, and all the unnamed figures, Rosa Parks and Shirley Chisholm, all of them. But somebody has to do it, because all of us just by nature, for whatever reason, we won't do it. And so when you say having to fight for rights that are literally yours, and to stand up, and this is in black and white, I'm not making these things up. It can be hard on your mental health because other people could probably see what's going on. They just don't feel any tenacity about like going for it. Somebody told me, I'll never forget it. I admire your tenacity to hold them accountable. I'm just like, well, if you did, I probably wouldn't have to, you know? So I thank you for what you do, because it's not easy. People probably look at you like you crazy sometimes, but it's like, no, I'm looking at you like, why don't you stand up for yourself? So you are a fighter. And I think that's something that we have in common. And I want to lift up today.
I appreciate it, Queen. A lot of times what you said, it's like you know what the law says, they know what the law says, but because you are so resilient, a lot of it has to do with our color as well. I'm a black male. We are an endangered species. We hurt each other, they hurt us, and if it keep on, won't none of us be left. But thank God for his grace and mercy that I
Yes.
learned from a mother and a father. My mother, her
Yes.
story briefly, she had 6 kids, went back to school, got 2 masters, went to get a doctorate in childhood education, special education it was called. Then it changed to EMR, education of mentally retarded. That was not politically correct. She went to Bethune-Cookman. She went to FAMU. She went to the black HBCU. So she's that kind of girl. Then she went to
Wow.
the University of South Florida, had me go to University of Florida. My brother went to the University of Miami. My sister went to Florida State. So we can get that inclusive, that understanding of how culture is different in the educational field. And it also showed us about prejudice. You go to school, and if you show that you got any kind of intelligence, you become a threat. But I learned at an early age, I really, for you to think I'm a threat and know I'm a threat, you'll treat me a little bit better than you might treat someone who will not fight. So a lot of
Mm.
times, I got 4 letters now for the U.S. Supreme Court, and it's about laws that on the book. My specialty is constitutional law. If you build your house, you have to have the foundation first. We are built on the constitutional law. But as we're going along, they add little administrative rules and policies that has nothing to do with anything if it violates what is called the supremacy clause of the United States Constitution. So now when it violates that, that's the first thing I say. Now they want me to go away. So what they usually do is just give me a check and tell me to go home. But I tell
Wow.
everyone I know that you have to stand on that constitutional law.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Title 18 USC 241 is conspiracy against rights. That happens every day in your life, my life, and everyone else's life. Family court, civil court, criminal court. But because we don't know and we go under what is called duress and coercion. Well, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this to you. That is illegal, and it's also a felony. But no one tells
Yeah.
you that. So we
And,
go
and
ahead and say, I'm going to take this.
yeah, you take it because you don't know. And we perish because of lack of what?
Knowledge. Hosea 4:6. My people are destroyed because of lack of knowledge. But because you have rejected knowledge, God said, I'm going to reject you. So let's get our knowledge. Let's teach each other.
Man, this is good. I also wanted to say thank you for your transparency about even though we're those born fighters, it's exhausting. It's exhausting because people just, they want you to shut up. And so they give you the pleas, they give you the propositions, and you're like, no, I'm gonna keep it will wear you out. And so you have to have a supernatural strength that you're pulling from and keep people around you that understand you, because sometimes it can be very, very lonely. And I know that your mental health can take a hit. So I appreciate you saying that.
What you said just then, it takes me back. I did 451 days illegally in jail. They put me in solitary confinement. But when they put me in this cell, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a couple of years ago.
Wow.
And I was not convicted of a crime. I'm a pretrial detainee, which means I'm supposed to get a bond. I own a funeral home. I got money. I got cash. I get a check. I live in the community. I'm not going anywhere. But because it was a misdemeanor, I refused to take a plea bargain. They was going to teach me a lesson. But because I was in the military, I jump out of planes, scuba dive, ski, shoot, people get shot at. I was able to go in this place and I spent time with God. So every day I would pray, read my Bible from Genesis to Revelation, 66 books, 39 to 27. And by the time I got through, I knew the Bible like I needed to. So I took that time to build myself a resiliency. So when they finally looked at me and said, you know what, you weren't even supposed to be in jail. I said, I know. Now let me get my check. So that's my Supreme Court U.S. writ of certiorari for them to pay me for that time they legally put me in jail. So sometimes
Wow.
we go through things. Romans 8:28 say all things work together for the good to those who love God and to those who are called according to his purpose. My trials and tribulation will help someone else. Everybody's not built to go to jail or go to solitary because they want you to crack. You got to take medicine, psychotic medicine, because you isolated. I taught people how to do this in the military. So what you're doing to me, I'm an instructor. So you really can't
Wow.
hurt me like this. Plus, I got God.
Man, let me tell you something. You just spoke a mighty word. I was detained for like 6 hours, and I was like, Lord, help me. It was crazy.
Right.
And that will really show you what you are made of, seriously. And I can
Yep.
understand why people have mental health breaks. I don't think people talk enough about the mental fortitude and strength that you have to be in confinement like that. I couldn't go nowhere. I was looking at four walls and the room was this big. It was
Don't even look at
it,
the
it,
room. Look outside. Don't even look at the room.
look outside
So
in your mind.
yeah, you have to. What I'm saying is like I did 451 days. That's a year and some time. On a charge, it only took 45 days, but I was found guilty. But because I refused to take the plea, they put me in this cell and hoped that I was going to break down. Every time they would bring me out, take me there, shackled. Like if you've seen Shawshank Redemption, I was shackled with hands and feet on a misdemeanor that I was actually innocent of. And the Judge Dick Greco, Judge Thane Covert, and all these judges would say, why don't you just take the plea? I said, how can I go to the military, sign my hand to fight for the Constitution? I can't get the same rights.
Come
They
on.
did not like that, take him back to jail. So when it came to take me back to jail, my friend girl who kids I adopted for, her name is Shanita Hayes. At the time, she came to jail and she spoke. She's in the Nation of Islam, so she got that rhetoric. She said, Yon, I don't understand what you're doing. This man has not done anything. And what you saying he done, he got witnesses. So when can he have his witnesses? They sent me back to jail. Then they brought me back up and say, that lady just spoke for you, convinced me to let you go home. Why would it take that lady to convince you when the law actually says you have no jurisdiction over me? So I got out. And like I said, she's a witness, wrote me a statement to the U.S. Supreme Court, to the federal U.S. Attorney's Office. That's why I'm willing to go with her all the way to the end of my days or her days. She's in the nursing home. I'm always going to take care of this lady because she was there for me. It's hard to find someone with you because my journey has been lonely, but I've been with God. He was 13:5. I will never leave you nor forsake you. That was one of the scriptures I kept saying to myself. God, you say you're here with me. You know, if you don't mind, show me you. And when they came to me and said, the guards would tell me, we don't understand why they got you in jail, but if you ever need a witness, we ready to stand on your side. The guards would tell me this. Schofield, you okay? I said, I'm fine. What about you?
That's crazy.
Oh, come on, man. You got to be there. That's why I can have such a great zeal for going to school. And I ask my teachers everything I want to know. I want to be better than my instructors.
Why not just let it go? Like, why are you so persistent? People ask me all that all the time.
I'm glad you said that. Well, I didn't grow up in a family like that. My
I
mother
know
went back to
that's right.
school. I'm not built like that. I grew up with a family with a mother that went back to school to do better for her children with 6 kids. Took her to school with her in a car, a station wagon, doing her homework in the class while I was outside doing mine in the car. Come out, check my homework, question me. If I couldn't teach it to her, I didn't know what I was doing. Now, there was a queen. My father there, too, actually questions. So I had, I guess what is a rarity now, I had both parents until they passed. So, and if I had an issue, one would tell me, the other one would tell me, and they said, now, what do you think about this? What's your problem solving skills? Identify the problem, come up with a solution, and go back and see if that solution works that problem. If that don't work, try another one. But first, do your prayers first.
Yeah.
Pray first, and then I'm just resilient. I can't give up.
Man, that's so good. What kind of child were you?
I was a great child. I had no problems. My mother had a library in our house. I read all the books on the shelf. They had the guy would come out with the Encyclopedia Britannicas, all that. She would get all these books. I would open the book and go from cover to cover. I want to know. So when I traveled in the military, I lived with a Spanish family overseas in Panama. I lived with Indians up in Alaska. I just hung everywhere I go. I immersed myself in the culture because I grew up like that. They opened a whole new world for me from the ages of time I was born till I left my house at 18.
Wow, man. It gives me so much faith that like I'm doing a good job with my son.
You're doing a
He
great
gonna
job.
I think he's gonna be. Thank you. I think he's solid. He is solid. I'm doing some of the very same things with him that your mom did with you. He's seeing me go get it. I'm not in school, not yet, because I never thought I would hear myself say that. But the more and more I do these programs with colleges and work with colleges, they pay me to work with them, and do case studies on my business. I'm like, I'm hearing all this information. I'm learning these different cohorts from these universities. I'm like, I can do this. I
You
always
do it.
convinced myself I wasn't a good student. I was smart, but I just couldn't sit still. And now I'm like, I can go back. So I'm doing all these things. And, he's in a private education and just doing really well. And he loves to read. Like, so this makes me proud. I'm like, okay, I'm
Right.
doing something good.
I was that kind of kid. Just read. If I read now, I got books all on my kitchen cabinet, law books. In
Hmm.
order to learn my field, you have to immerse yourself in that field. I
Yeah.
don't want to be a surface attorney. I want to be in depth. I want to be a surgeon. I want you to ask me a question, and I can pull it off the top of my head. And the strangest thing about that, I went to court. I used to pray all the time. When the judge would bring me in just to see if I was broken down, I would always tell him, Your Honor, with all due respect, I can't take a plea bargain. And he would just, okay, take him back to jail. I go back to jail. People say, you didn't take the plea? I say, why would I take a plea when I'm innocent? See, because I know once you take that plea, it's hard to get that plea off you. I'm innocent. So now we go back to jail now. I never committed innocent. You got to pay me for every day I was in jail. And what's the amount they give? They usually start off at $10,000 a day, but most black people, they give you like $100 a day. I want more than 10,000. So that's why I can't give up. I'm persistent.
Yeah. And at 68 years old, you waiting on California to do their thing so you can go on and continue and practice actually and help more people. Cause
Yes, ma'am.
somebody could be like, "Wow, you 68? What you doing? Go retire and scuba dive and jump out of planes."
I still do. But Moses was, I remember now Methuselah was 969. So I'm saying age is only in your mind. My mother went back to school probably at 40 and got 2 masters, doctors. So if she was a girl, I always tell myself, I could beat you, mama, you're a girl. That's how we were taught. And unfortunately, she passed in 2000. But I told her I was always going to go back to school and get my law degree. And that's another one of my whys for my mother. You might not see me here on this earth, but I did what I told you, my word.
I think that's a good moment to take a pause. There's another uh, segment that I do call a mindful moment. Do you practice any type of intentional or mindful breathing exercises?
It comes on every morning at 7 o'clock on my AI. I breathe deep, 10. The same thing like scuba dive. Once you scuba dive, I take off, the regulator. You stop breathing and then relax and breathe slowly. I do it for about 3 minutes. Then I usually
Okay.
go get in. I go get in the swimming pool. I get my breath, go down at the YMCA, and I stay down as long as I can. And I try to always do it to a minute. Your mind tell you survival, which means you want to get out because you're underwater. But I got so now I can just stay there. The lifeguard have to come say, you okay? I'm fine. I have to just tell, that's my relaxation. I do
Mm.
Tai Chi, Wing Chun, Jeet Kune Do, so any kind of martial arts, and just think about where am I going. I have a big whiteboard, like you see the wall behind me, all my to-dos. I have a planner that sits next to me every day. What I have to do, I write down. That's my mindful
You got the
moments. Now,
podcast on there?
come on, I got you. At the top, Soliél, 12 a.m.,
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah. 12
I,
p.m. I was sleeping at 12 a.m.
look, I'm on it. I was taught that by my parents. Write down your to-do list and make it get done.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's take a mindful moment. I'm going to tell you the type of it's called box breathing is what I do here on the podcast. And I actually adopted it in my personal life. And it has been a savior for me. I remember when I was growing up, I used to always see people take a deep breath. I'm like, I am breathing
Right.
or breath. I'm like, what are you talking about? But now that I'm an older child and I have, been educated about my mental health and just relaxation responses, I am very big on especially coming from a single parent household and being a single parent myself, I'm very resourceful. And so I like to share things that are free and accessible to anybody, no matter what your abilities are. And so, you know, anybody can do this. If you breathing, you can do it. And it's free again. So I like to do box breathing because it's very simple and it's easy. I do 4 counts. So we're going to do 4 repetitions of this. But what I do is I inhale for 4 seconds. I hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. And then wait for 4 seconds. And then start it all over again. We're just going to do that
Gotcha.
4 times. Okay.
All right.
So just get very relaxed. And I'm going to count us off in 3, 2, 1. We'll inhale for 4. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 2, 3, 4. And hold. Release. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Inhale. And hold. Release. Third one. Inhale. And hold. Release. I forgot to pause on the last one. Pause for 4. Inhale. Release. One final time. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. And hold. Release. And that is done. It is a very easy way to just recenter and create an automatic relaxation response in your body. How do you feel?
I feel great. You know, anything I like to learn. You know, anything. I breathing. A lot of times we always say, "Get." My mom said, "Get out the bed and put in good air." That was she always say, "Get out the bed and put in the good." What you mean? Because once we get agitated, we always hold our breath. We're not paying attention. Keep breathing. Your dialogue is better with people. They understand your rhetoric, and guess what? Your point get across, and you might get what you're looking for.
Yeah. Shout out to my auntie. She says, I feel good too. Thank you. You are so welcome. And thank you for doing that with us. I got a really positive review and testimonial from a brother in Florida, actually. His name is, oh gosh, I met him on YouTube. I mean, on Instagram. He followed us here. He supports my business all the time. Benjamin. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've been doing those breathing exercises from the podcast, man. I feel good. It's like they stressing me out at work and stuff like that." So shout out to B, and just thank you for being always a supporter of not only the podcast but of our merch, our brand, and yourself, you know. So shout out to you. Thank you for doing that with me, Mr. Preston. Let's talk a little bit about your mom and dad a little bit, because you shared with me that they had some involvement with the NAACP, and that y'all also knew some Black Panthers. Like, this is so good. Like, we read about this stuff in the Malcolm X books and hear about it on podcasts and documentaries, but to talk to somebody who lived it and had parents involved, I really want to hear more about that.
Oh, you're gonna love this then. My mother, the lady named National Council of Negro Women, Dorothy Height was the president. Got to meet her. Got to meet Jesse Jackson running for president down in Miami at the Fontainebleau Hotel. My mother was, she was out of all her siblings, she was the lightest one, right? And she was the most driven one. It was like 13 children. She's this driven, light-skinned woman that couldn't go outside because my grandma didn't want her to get burnt. And she just had this focus. We joined, his name was Mr. Poole, in a place called Mount Dora, Florida, west of Orlando. Was a president of NAACP. My mother was involved with that. She started what is called ZAP, Z-A-P-T, Zellwater, Poplar, Plymouth, Tangerine. Help young mothers get help with food stamps, these before SNAP program, help them get child care, put them back in school. My cousin who's listening to this podcast now, my mother took her in, and when she got pregnant as a young lady, helped her get a job at General Electric. Mr. Jack Welch, who was the CEO, got a job. She got a job at Disney World. She's now retired, living a good life. And she always brings it up to me, "I thank your mother for that." And my mother, the Black Panthers. I got to read Malcolm X, Huey Newton, Cleaver, Eldridge Cleaver. So I got to see this in action when they came to do. Matter of fact, let me go back. The food stamp program that they're using now, it actually was done by the Black Panthers. We was given to our own communities, but they decided it was so good we adopted. We can do it as an organization because it's from a militant group, so to speak, but we're going to stop and adopt it for the U.S. government. I got to go to D.C. To see the Million Man March. You know, I'm going to go for it. Louis Farrakhan, both of them, 95 and the next one. I broadcast them for WTMP Radio, 1150 AM, The Voice out of Tampa, Florida, which I'm the host of the show. I'm on sabbatical now. The Black Panther Party that started in St. Petersburg around about 2016 while I was doing the show, I got to meet with those, the ones out in Houston, Texas. So my family, because of their upbringing and showing me the exposure, I became more attuned to the Nation of Islam, any Muslim group. Culture has no barrier for me. I never met an enemy. I always meet friends. So my family, they just immersed me into it as a young kid. And we have some great values, even though we have on both sides of the spectrum. Some of us are going to be more radicalized than others.
Yeah.
But it's because of the treatment we received. Yeah. Me going to jail, I could have came out and been a totally different person. I said, I'm going to turn my experience into going to school. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate my mother and my father. They're going on, but they gave me a foundation that I passed on to my children.
Yeah, they set a really solid foundation and standard for you. And it's very admirable because, like you said, we don't see that family structure a lot anymore. And I think that's due to a lot of different reasons. And so these stories, I feel like you got to lift up.
Yeah, you know, we have a lot of times people don't understand. The reading was very good for me when I was young. The Willie Lynch letter. A lot of times we don't know about Willie Lynch, the slave master from the Caribbean, come over to teach America how to break up the family, get the man out the house. Then we got this. We come up with the food stamp. We come up with the welfare, the child support. Systems are good if they're in place to help the people, but not to destroy people. So a lot of times we have to look into our own family. We call what is called my family. We do for self. I can do for me. I got my own garden outside, my own animals. I got my own work. I started my own business. That's how I grew up. Mm-hmm. I just started 2 more businesses because of my family. You know, I started one after my mother, Kajari Corporation, which works with the government. They help other veterans, other independent people such as us, get their own businesses. You know, and I got one that does Feed My Sheep Ministry of God, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. That's so we can be inclusive. Each one of us got a talent that sometimes we keep to ourselves. I understand we want to monetize everything we got, but give for free to 1 or 2 people.
Absolutely.
If we don't help each other, who's going to help us if we don't help us?
Absolutely. I think that individualistic attitude that we've adopted, I think partly due to like capitalism and things of that nature, we gotta find our way out of that at times and just reach back. Sankofa means to reach back and go and get it. Something like that. Very similar. Like whatever you learn and you reach back and go get it. So love that principle. I also have a note here that you always felt you always were first or different. And I can relate to that. I think that's one of the reasons why we also bond and click so well, because I have always felt different in my friend groups, social groups, in my family, definitely very outspoken. And again, that could be a very lonely path. And so building yourself up to know that who you are, who God made you to be, is exactly who you were supposed to be. You just have to learn to accept that and flow in the path he's giving you. I always say, like, the call was for you. It is not a 3-way call, 4-way call. And so whatever that path is he's designed for you, even if it doesn't make sense to other people around you, you got to be brave enough to step into that. So I'm finally there. I finally stepped into that. But I look back at my path, I'm like, I was always different, trying to find a place to fit in. And also at the same time, like being okay standing out. You know, I would talk to people at school that folks would pick on, and then I would be trying to hang with the cool girls. And, you know, I talked to the nerds and the people in the band. I was everywhere. I'm still like that. You know, I'm really not a cliquey type person. If you got a good heart and a good spirit, then we can rock. But I relate to that. So I wanted to hear more about your story as it relates to being the first and feeling different.
Well, you know, when I came up, I'm giving honor to God, who's first in my life, to my parents. You know, my mom said it's okay to be different. Remember, my mother was a school teacher. She taught education mentally retarded. That's what it was called before it became politically incorrect. It became special education. She would take us around and see older people. We would go help wash their feet. We would do their clothes, cut their grass, right? So that servant leadership was taught to me early. My father would help everybody in the community. Um, it was so good that he named the street after my mother. Soliél Lane in Orlando, Florida. They got a road named Schofield, like my last name in Florida. My mother and father was advocates for helping one another. How can you think you are better than anyone, Preston, when there's someone that's lower than you? You worried about me buying you a pair of shoes. That man don't have feet. I always remember that. And I was like, Mom, but I want those shoes. Okay, what about the man with no feet? So it taught me to accept myself as being different. I didn't really want to be like the crowd. I love to read. I didn't want to go do other things. I wanted to learn. My mother was a learner. My father was a learner, and it kind of like dropped on me. I know for a fact that God tells us in the Bible, say men are called, but few are chosen. So in other words, I felt different. I went to places like the club. I didn't feel like I belonged there. I finally had to come to it where God said his spirit speak to us, the Holy Spirit, Romans 8:26, that he make intercession on our behalf with groanings which cannot be uttered. I kept feeling like I was getting drawn out of that. Even in the military, I was the first black in an all-white platoon and a recon platoon. I had to go out in the woods, way out by myself with 3 other guys to protect my back with a weapon. I was different. So I can accept that. And you have to say to yourself, I'm different. No matter what the world says, I'm fine with me. It's you that got the problem, not me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm fine.
I am teaching my son that right now. People always say, "Oh, what kind of sports he playing?" I'm like, my son is a brainiac. He loves puzzles. He loves STEM. He loves Legos. We've done contact sports. It's just not his first go to. And so
He's
he
fine.
presents. Yeah, he's. I think he's brilliant. I'm not just saying that because he's my kid. I think most people who come in contact with him can attest to that. And he reminds me of myself when I was his age, like mine just moving mile a minute. And mom did what she could with her resources, and so I'm trying to keep myself into position where I can keep him in environments that nurture who he is. And sports is fine, he'll do them if he wants to. We doing boxing right now, but he need to know how to play chess and strategize throughout life. You know what I'm saying? And so being different is okay. I'm actually teaching my son that. And you're different, I think, has helped a lot of people. My different is helping a lot of people, meet my willingness to be vocal and share when I feel led and create community. And it doesn't have to be publicized, but the connection that I receive from people as a result, folks probably coming to you and telling you how you've changed their life just by advocating the way that you do. It helps them find
Right.
their voice, because some people need the little spark, to help ignite their light that they already have. It might just be, like sparking a little bit. We come and we ignite light inside of people. And so I don't think different is bad.
Listen, you have so much energy, right? When I'm out to see it, it's coming at you. So much energy. And I get around people. Sometimes I have to be reserved when I go around certain people. But more often than not, I'm just like that. Playing chess, when you said that, it's, you got 64 squares, you got the queen and the king, you got your 8 pawns. And those pawns are the smallest pieces on the board, but they become the most powerful because they become anything once they get to the other end of the board. Your son is just like a pawn. Just keep on moving because you can become a king, a queen, a bishop, or a rook. That's life. Even when we get a problem solving, I have many things to do in the daytime, so I have a planner. One at a time. I can't multitask, which I try sometimes, but I'm better at completing one at a time.
Yeah,
Being different means that I can't put down what I need to have done to help you to go do something that's going to waste my time. Time is another commodity we don't get back.
for sure.
Huh? We don't get that
Yeah.
back.
That's good. Shout out to Hawks Drawer. Hawks Journey, you changed your name. I stopped by your store. Oh, this must be a new page. I stopped by your store a couple of weeks ago. You were gone, but I saw the sister Jate in there and her son. Keep going, sis. And he said he had his sweatshirt on right now. Thank you for repping the brand. Do good, be good. Y'all go check out Hawks Drawer on Broad Street over by Elegba Folklore Society. I wanted to also talk to you about the civil rights movement And growing up in that, how did that shape you as a person? Because you have an experience that somebody my age will never experience. I would just read about it in textbooks, okay? And I feel the trickle effects of it still, but you and your family lived through that. Shout out to LJ Health Solutions as well. She says, oh, she's in the military. Hey, sis. She says, thank you for your services, sir. I too need to learn how to play chess. That's good.
Anytime. I taught the school, my church in Florida. I teach the chess club for the young kids to learn how to play chess. And we did very good at each time we go to Jacksonville to play. My kids always come in first or second.
Yeah, man, that's good. I gotta get my son
Mm.
with you. Shout out
Anytime.
to Tanya. She's also in the military currently, and I have a personal post coming out, so y'all follow me on the Real Soleil because her business offers non-toxic sanitary products for women, and I've been using them. They are absolutely amazing. But that's a little commercial right there. You're welcome, sis. All right, back to you, Preston. So let's talk about that. Like, how was that growing up in the civil rights movement?
Oh, it was great. Everybody's heard about Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia back in the day. You know, you can go there and come up missing. Actually, it was true. We had a little town called Tavares, Florida, Leesburg, that blacks were not, it was called sundown towns. You're not allowed to be over there when the sun go down because something might happen to you.
Yeah.
A lot of people end up dying. A place called Sebring, Florida. My mother and father, when I came up in the 50s to 60s, we went to all black schools. The teachers was thorough. HBCU educated, you know, all of them had a sorority or fraternity. So it was that love. I go to HBCU. My school was called Zellwood Elementary, Douglas Elementary in Zellwood, Florida. We would stay in our own community, all our shops in our community. We didn't go, every now and then we would go to a store called Woolworth, Montgomery Ward, or Sears. That's when you saw the other color. You had to be on your best behavior. You couldn't look at people, you know. And I was like, well, this doesn't even sound right to me as a little child, right? But, you know, that's the way it was. Around about my sixth grade year, we graduated from Douglas Elementary. They had integration come in. Martin Luther King and all this work he did, Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey, it came to fruition, Adam Clayton Powell. So now we're going to a white school integration. We went there, and it was kind of standoffish, you know. We had to stay in our own groups, and we finally came to a sports team. They wanted us to play because we were kind of like better athletes at this time. So we got on the team, and I learned that, you know, they appreciated us. After school, I had a harsh reality. I had to walk from the school. My mother talked down the street to go across the street to a store to wait on my mother to come pick me up. I was treated so discriminatory that I wouldn't even say some of the words I heard. They wanted to threaten my life. But I just got through playing sports with you where we won and you cheered for me. Across the street, it was a totally different environment. So that's PTSD right then. Not even knowing this. I walked home one day, got by a lake. They used to have a lot of gators in this lake, and we're throwing a leg, all this kind of stuff. But I was resilient because I had that foundation. I kept going. My mother didn't pick me. I told my dad, don't even worry about that. My father came to the school, talked to the people. I had no more problems. I don't know what my father said, but whatever he said was good. He worked for a place called Zellwyn Fruit Distributors, which was ran by some Jewish guys who had a lot of clout back then. So whatever clout they had, God's grace, I never had any more problems. We had a lot of riots, a lot of discrimination, a lot of people who died, was killed. It kept going on and on and on, and we just say, they just said, but we took that. I'm like, I always wanted to fight, not, you know, can we do something legally? Marching is good, but something has to be better than marching. That's what I thought. Of course, my mother explained to me, yeah, so what are you going to do about it? That's all she would say. I'm going to go to school and be a lawyer. Okay. They took me to the University of Florida, dropped me off. Me, I stayed there for a couple months, and I'm restless. That ADHD is me kicking up. I joined the military. Now I see the world still doing civil rights. I started doing it in the military. A lot of the blacks in the military was put out the military for the same charge that another color would do, but the other color got to stay in. I fought for it. I ended up going to Fort Hood, Texas. They gave me an order to do, and I did the order. And a colonel decided he was going to punish me because of my color. I flew from Texas back to Florida, seeing Senator Lawton Childs, who's now deceased, who my mother used to work for. He helped me beat this colonel, and the military lost their mind. I had a lot of discriminatory civil rights. That's part of my learning about constitutional law. So all my life, I've been doing civil rights. I just didn't have the degree. So now that is the capstone for my project, is getting a degree from California. Now I'm in civil rights still. I went to Million Man Marches. I went to Texas. Anywhere they got a demonstration, I said, but we got to do something better than that. We got people on the street, but we have no knowledge. It's the laws we need to attack. You can't find a lawyer right now that'll take your case. And if I'm wrong, let a lawyer call me at my number. You can give it to him. No black lawyer would take my case. They wanted $30,000. Okay, I got a house. I'm gonna sell my house. I'm gonna give you $30,000. Get me in the court. I can represent myself. They don't want nothing to do with it because it's politically charged. I might not win no more cases if I take your case. So I got to do my own case.
You're a bad mama jamma, as they say, or whatever the masculine version
that was
of
Mr. Carvin. He just passed. Mr. Carvin, you're a bad mama jamma. Right.
Shout
If
out
I
to
don't do it, who's gonna do it for me? Who's gonna do it for me?
Right. Who's gonna do it? Listen, when people say anybody coming to save you, listen, that's the one right there. So hey, Randy, shout out to Randy Wilson Podcast for joining us. We love y'all over there. Oh, he's sharp. That's why I had to have him come on, Hawk. This man right here, y'all gotta meet. Me and you gonna take a trip down to his store one day.
No problem.
Preston. He said he loved the conversations, reminding him of riding with his father, man. I love it. I love it. Let's continue. I also want to talk about where do we go from there? Because there's so much I want to hop into. I don't want to forget to talk about your foster parenting journey. Now you dropped some gems on me because I didn't realize that this was a friend of yours. But you took her children. I just remember telling you my son's name, which I won't say here, and you were like, "Oh, my kids got Islamic name. I got 14 kids." I'm like, "What?" So how you get that many kids? And what now I know why you have them, but
right.
That's what a wonderful thing to do for her.
She was a queen. You know, she's civil rights. She'd get on the front line. If there's a demonstration about some injustice, she gave a speech in court. They won't give me the speech she did in court, but the speech she gave in court, that needs to be not monetized, but distributed around the world. I want to let you people know what you're doing to him, because he been with me. What you say he did, he couldn't have done it because I'm his witness. They lost their minds. And so when she called me, I was in Virginia, going to VCU at the time. She said, I'm sick. I need someone to take care of my kids. I said, when you want me to come get them? She said, as soon as possible. I left the same day when we got our kids. Because, you know, she been there for me.
Wow.
If we don't take care of each other, who's going to take care of us?
Yeah, that's good. They don't make them like you no more, Preston. That's amazing.
Of course, it might have something to do with the time and my upbringing and the fact that I believe in giving out. Because the Bible tells us we cast our bread upon the waters and many days to come back to us. So what I do for you, it don't have to be to get me a blessing in, but God sees that. He said he'll repay me. I'd rather for God to pay me back.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about the funeral home business that your family and you ended up going into. I'm like, y'all done did so many daggone things. How did that come about?
It's called do for self. Like I said, my mother asked us, each one of us, what do we want to do? My brother Daryl, who owns the funeral home down in Orlando, Florida, giving a shout out to Unity East and Unity West Funeral Homes, our family.
Black owned, y'all go support them. What part of Florida is
Black owned. We're in Orlando, Florida, or Apopka, Zellwood. We go all over the world to pick you up if you need it. Call us. It's called, my mother set us at a table. I don't know if you know about those old tables where they had the middle piece to put in when you got more people coming to the house. She would put that piece in the middle. All of us would sit down and say, look.
It's called the leaf.
The leaf. What do you want to be when you grow up? Well, I want to do this. Okay, my brother wanted to be a mortician. She tell him to, at the age of 10. My brother went to school at Gunther Jones Mortuary College in Atlanta, Georgia. We would fly in to go check on him, say, how you doing? We support each other. And she said, what you want to do now? He said, I want a funeral home. They went and bought him a funeral home. My mother and father. I mean, I just want a bicycle. He got a funeral home. You know what I mean? So now we working, right? So we got one over here, got one in Leesburg, we got one in Lando, we got one in Apopka, which one in Apopka now, and then we started one in Sanford. My brother and myself started one in Sanford, Florida. You know, because that's what we've been doing, and we have a need for that in the community. A lot of times you can't afford a funeral because we don't have what is called proper planning, pre-need. where you can get insurance for $25 a month in case something should happen. You don't have to do a Facebook page or Instagram or social media. You already got the insurance laid out for your casket, for the interment, for your headstone. We don't do that. So we decided to do that to make it better for people. So sometimes my brother give away free funerals to people who need them.
And
So
you know
that's,
what? Thank you for sharing that plug because, of course, it's a mental health podcast. Do you know how much mental anguish you won't have to put yourself through if finances are not on the table when a loved one passes away? Not if, when. We all got to go. And
just
so
lost a
that is
sister
part,
yesterday. Right.
it's so much cheaper. You said you lost somebody yesterday?
Yeah.
I'm
In the
sorry to hear
family.
that.
Oh,
But I hope,
we
did he
know.
have some life insurance?
Oh, believe this. We go. Look, we get free funerals. We good. But we get free funerals. But the point
Yeah.
is, like what you just said, if you go out and get this, I can give it to you next time. You can pass on your podcast. Her name is Joanne Robinson. They do pre-need life insurance, which is a little or nothing, $20, $25. You got a policy. You can pay for a funeral. That way you don't have to worry about going to get money. Because a lot of times when I do the intake, people coming in to get buried, first thing I got to ask you, do you have a life insurance? We don't have life insurance.
Yeah.
But they want to pick the best casket, the best service. No, they want 10 cars. They want the horse-drawn carriage with the birds, the doves. You have to make sure that mental health, what you just said, plays a big part. Family begin to turn each other because now we don't have money to bury this person that we say we love. And not everyone is going to have money to put up at that time for this because they got things going in their life. That's when families start breaking up, which I really hate to see. So a lot of times we have to do what is called charity. You have to help a family. But you can't keep doing charity all the time because you won't have a business.
There you go.
So pre-need.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah.
good. Thank you for that. That is an education point right there. And will, even though, bereavement is hard, it is a part of life. That is a part of your mental health that doesn't have to be depleted. If you just get some life insurance, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but a whole nother other conversation to that is when we talk about generational wealth, that is a tool that other cultures use to make sure they keep that generational wealth. That's a whole nother conversation. But look
Oh,
into that. The seeds have been planted, okay?
right.
So let's continue. The one of the final things I want to talk about is your mental health. You have shared that there was a misdiagnosis, that they said you had this and you had this going on. You said it was ADHD. You've already talked about that, but let's talk about your personal mental health journey, because all of the things that you are sharing today absolutely, undoubtedly show your mental fortitude and resilience. And so I want people to know, and you were very transparent when I asked you at the beginning at the segment, on a scale from 1 to 5, you had a 3. That is so normal to be there. But also, you shared why you were there. You're working for other people and fighting for yourself and fighting for other people. It takes a toll on you. And so, even beyond that, that's just like daily stuff. There are things that we've gone through, traumas that we've experienced that have impacted our brains and the way we perceive things, the way we process things forever. So, what has been your experience with mental health?
Okay, first of all, my experience was I went in the military. I was 17, going on 18. I was in a recon platoon. For all those in the military, what I didn't know at the time was that when you witness death, it impacts your growth, your frontal lobe, your back lobe, your medulla, and I just took it because I was so resilient, coming from a mother and a father that was always strong. I never seen my mother cry. I just seen them. We got a problem. Let's go work this problem out. We can cry later. So I had that mentality. And when I started losing print right here in Fort Pickett, Blackstone, Virginia, I lost a friend, got shot with a 50 caliber. For those in the military, know it's around about that long, and it went through his back. But I was sitting in the seat before him, and God said, "Get out of the seat." And I got out of the seat like, where I heard that voice from. He sat in the same seat. 2 seconds later, he was dead. Same seat I was just sitting in. Now it makes me wonder, did I really hear the voice? Why did the voice get me out? And I had what is called survivor's guilt. He died when it should have been me, but then I still want to live too, but I had to process that. They took us to a military police headquarters and treated us as if we had actually committed a murder. But it was called death by friendly fire. That's what it's classified as in the military. Then after that, Sergeant Kenworthy died jumping out of a plane, straight to the ground. Other people started dying. We just started seeing death. And once it started hitting the platoon, most people want to transfer because They think it's your turn is next. I get transferred somewhere else, and I get hurt over in Panama, Central America, doing a ride. We can't, but in my unit, because of my specialty, I'm in a special unit. If you go to sick call or if you go to mental health, they take you out of their unit, they kill your money, you can never get promoted. So I got either I do or I don't. So I chose I'm not going to mental health, which we didn't have. When I get ready to get out of the military to come back home, you apply for what is called, I guess, unemployment, all this. I never got unemployment. They said I had to wait 6 months. I got a wife and a kid, so 6 months I got to wait to get a job. So that's another stress. So my marriage ended up breaking up over that. I go back to the military because they need me to go somewhere to do something because of my MOS, military occupational specialty. I'm overseas in Panama, Central America, and things just get crazy. I get out the military and I'm having these night sweats. Why am I thinking about this? And I don't know. I go to the VA in Orlando, Florida, and they tell me I got what is called bipolar. I say, that don't even sound right. My mother is in mental health, and my mom said, you don't have no bipolar. It's something totally different. They didn't name it PTSD till a little bit later on with the DSM-5, which I read. I was like, well, I got this going on and this going on, but I didn't want to taint my own self-diagnosis. So I go to 10 other counselors. All of them tell me the same thing, PTSD. The military does not want to pay me for it. It took me 20 years to get a check. So now I'm going through all these things. I drink, I smoke, and I never did these things. And I'm like, wow, I was trying to get rid of that problem that I had going on. My relationships are not going good because I have so much anger. And my mother sat me down and had one of those old back porch talks. For those who know what I'm talking about, and said, let me tell you, this is what's going on in your life, this is what you need to do. Now, it's up to you. And God wants you to do good for all people. My father talked to me, and I said, you know what? I got to help myself. Started going to counseling, and I got, all cultures are not the same when it comes to mental health. I'm an advocate of going to someone who was a black lady. My mother helped me, but I wanted to go to another black lady to see what she said. Did it match what my mother was saying? It's verbatim. She never met my mother. I went to a black counselor. He said the same thing. So they could understand what I was going through and my past trauma from going to integration, which I never thought played a part in it, played a part in my PTSD. I was getting bullied, throw stuff at, had to fight, and so now I'm at this place. I went to see a counselor up the street up here. She's a Caucasian, and what she was telling me didn't sound what I didn't like that. I think I had a conversation with you about this. I went to see another lady who said, this is what you got. She had been in the military. She had a sexual trauma. And when I told her my story, she told me exactly what I was feeling by her own background, which has helped me immensely. So my journey has been one of, you can stay where you at, or you can get up and pull your pants on and get to work. So I'm at that stage of my life now to work.
Yeah, thank you for sharing all of that. So many points here. Tanya says, sadly, he is not alone. And I just, my heart goes out to people who have different experiences in terms of not being able to get help or not wanting to get help. So kudos to you for, listening to your parents and them advocating for you and helping you through what you need to go through and actually listening. Because at that point, the choice is still yours.
Right.
But it's so admirable because as an older Black man, your generation, a lot of them ain't talking about no therapy, child. Okay. I
None.
know,
Oh.
I know, I know a woman that's 50 who is very revered here in this city who looked at me dead in my face and told me mental health is not real. And so our perceptions and views of mental health are still very skewed. The taboo is being lifted a little bit, but I'm
Not enough.
noticing that generationally there are some different viewpoints, and I have grace for all of it, but I will not let nobody tell me with my experience, with your experience, and all the other podcast episodes that our experiences are not real. I won't go for that. But I hear you though. I'm gonna listen to you,
It's real.
because I want to know why you thinking the way you think. But that don't mean I
It's
gotta
real.
agree to it, right? But the cultural competency of the Black therapists that you work with were so important. And that's not to say that as Black people or people of color, we can't see other races or cultures as our doctors. That's not what I'm saying here. But cultural competency is so important because people with similar lived experiences, um, it's invaluable. It's so
Yeah.
invaluable. And people want to overlook segregation, integration, slavery, and think that the effects are not still with us today. It's just not true. The whole get over it, let it go as it pertains to racism,
And
slavery, and also
that's not in my vocabulary.
mental health, because somebody in their 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s will tell you real quick, oh, that ain't real. What you mean? We'll cry about it later, like you said, right? But no, it don't always have you dealing with something. I had a person that I know in his 60s. His daughter was we were at the bar, and we were talking about mental health, and he was like, you keep talking about this mental health thing. I don't really believe in it. Daughter sitting right next to him like, yeah, you might not believe in it, but you can go talk to somebody. But we can believe whatever we want to believe. That don't mean it ain't true, right? And so I commend you for being at your age, being part of your generation, and being military, and being a Black male, going to go get yourself some help, because clearly it's working, and you're able to tell your story in a very transparent way to give permission to others, again, who may not know that they have permission or may need that permission. So I'm grateful, man, because I tell people all the time, like, I know a lot of people, that I don't get with that mental health stuff, my age too. But people in their 50s, 60s, 70s, y'all make my heart so proud when you share these stories out loud and advocate for therapy and just healing. Therapy ain't the answer for everybody, but it's a really good start. There are a lot of healing modalities out there, but child, start with something, okay?
What you
So
just
thank you for
said,
sharing that.
I just want to say this. I didn't want to go because Black men don't go to therapy. We can handle ourselves. Get a bottle of Jim Beam, some cognac, go see your girl. You're going to be all right.
You're gonna
But
be
there's some
high.
things, everything is compartmentalized in my life. As I was talking, they started coming out. I was like, I thought I was through with that. But we just put them to sleep.
By self-medicating
Right.
with all of our vices: food,
Right.
TV, sex, girlfriends, boyfriends, all the things,
Right.
shopping. Oh, yeah, you medicating for sure. This has been a great episode. I want to ask you, is there anything that you would like to share before we log off?
Yes, I would like to thank you, first of all, for allowing me to come on and share my story. It's been great meeting you. And as the queen, I hope everyone supports you. I'm going to give you a plug. It's for free. And if anyone needs any kind of help whatsoever, anything I do for you, feel free to give me a contact. You can call me anytime. I have every law book I need to get the basic things done and some of the more deeper things about us as a people. I help all races. It's nothing that's blonde, because I got light-skinned, blue-eyed people in my family with the blonde hair, the green hair. So I'm just saying, I'm not biased, prejudice in any shape, form, or fashion. But we as a people have to help one another. And I'm here to help you.
For sure. This has been episode 51 of Soul Seat Conversations with our special guest, Preston Schofield. My name is Soliél Lindsey. I've been your host today. It has been incredible. If you've made it to the end of this podcast, please put some sunshine emojis down in the comments and put hashtag replay. And if you have an insight, a question, or something you want to share with myself or Preston, we would love to hear it. Again, if you have a mental health story to share, you can email us at mystory@soulriseessentials.com, and we'll set up a discovery call to see if it's a good fit. We would love to share your story. Preston, this has been amazing. I want to thank you for being a thriver, a survivor. Thank you for your service and your friendship and your help with my life and my business as well. And just want to say thank you. And it's been a great conversation.
You're welcome. Get the chair set.
Yes, sir. I wanted to you on that. Shout out to the Soul Tribe family. Thank y'all for being excellent, interacting with us during this live episode. You can still interact with us during the replay if you're watching it now. We will see you next month for episode 52. Remember to mind your mind and shine your light. Y'all have an amazing day. Peace. Thank you, Mr. Preston.
Thank you. Be blessed, Queen.
Bye-bye. Thank you, you too.